tons of beautiful women, absolute monk mode, or maybe something in the middle. The reality is that when you are in your 20s as a man, you have more energy, vigor, and time than you will ever have for the rest of your life. On the flip side, you have the least amount of responsibilities that you will ever have. This combination makes your 20s an incredibly important time. So the question becomes, do you use this time as a springboard into the relationship of your dreams? Or do you use it to stay single and focus on pursuing your individual pursuits? Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you my personal opinion on dating in your 20s as a man. Let's get started. When I had just turned 20, my attention was almost exclusively on girls. In my mind, the best thing that I could be was a playboy. In fact, like many other 20-year-old men, I would basically measure the success of my night or my weekend, or even just my success as a man, all on whether or not I was sexually active on the occasion at hand. It was all about dating girls and seeing how far I could take our physical interactions. And even though I feel like I was a loser compared to the guy that I like to consider myself to be today, I was still relatively successful with girls around this time. I guess it just goes to show that if you put in the reps with anything, you'll get better in time. Anyway, suffice to say, for these 4 or 5 years from my early to mid 20s, I chose the dating and sex route over basically everything else. Now, as I got to about 25, I was still very active in the dating and hookup scene. But don't get me wrong, despite the bald head, I wasn't Johnny Sins or anything. But I was having my fair share of fun. Still, I was putting most of my time into securing dates wherever and whenever I could. While most dudes were eating a breakfast of Snap, Crackle, and Pop, I ate a concentrated diet of Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. Okay, bad joke, but dating apps basically became my best friend and my worst addiction. But hell, they worked. When 26 rolled around, I was already becoming quite ambitious. I was working on business, my diet and my health became a really big interest to me. I was working out with some real consistency, and I had a few side hustles and hobbies that I really started to care about. And to be completely honest with you, because of these things in my life, my attention and even desire to hook up with girls kind of began to decrease a little bit. I was getting up really early to focus on my self-improvement routine, and frankly, as some of you know, it's pretty hard to be going out with girls every night when you're getting up at 4 in the morning. So essentially, my focus just began to go elsewhere. Now, 27 years old, I was beginning to realize that going out and dating and hooking up all the time can be fun, but it takes a lot of energy. And that's not to say that it wasn't worth it sometimes. I'm just saying that to date a lot of girls takes sacrifice. But the funny thing is, so do your dreams. And I had come to realize that if you don't make sacrifices for your dreams become the sacrifice. By 28 years old, regular dating and hooking up kind of began to fall by the wayside, and guess what? Something huge happened. I made the biggest leaps and bounds that I had ever made in my entire life. I started making multiple 6 figures a year. I made massive progress in my hobbies. My relationships with friends got richer and deeper, and I started exploring principles and practices that would change my life forever. I can confidently say that I would not be who I am today if I stayed obsessed with dating just like I was in my early 20s. The end. Wait a sec. That's not the end. Now close to turning 29, I'm actually back to dating. But Spencer, you made it seem like dating was in the way of becoming what you must become. Well, here's the real conclusion I've come to about dating in your 20s. Listen up. For most men, when you're in your early 20s, dating around seems fun. And like I said before, it is. But this is mainly because this is the only real kind of success that you've ever tasted. You message your Hinge date, you start getting ready, you show up at the venue, you hopefully hit it off, and maybe it becomes physical. Then you go home, you tell your friends about it, and they give you props. This is the general idea that guys have in their minds from about 20 to 25. And for some, it keeps on going. And while this is all fine, I personally found that something switches. You stumble across wins in other areas that are more meaningful to you. And as you do this, you begin to realize that casual, meaningless sex just isn't as big of a win as some of these other things. And again, don't get me wrong, I'm no monk. I'm just saying that if you're into self-improvement, as you move up in your 20s, other goals are going to really start to take your attention. And so little by little, the girls who start to actually gain your attention are the ones who end up either helping you with that goal directly or indirectly. Okay, so with all of this, what is the real takeaway? Here it is. Random hookups and dates can be fun for a third time, especially when that's all the success that you've ever known. But as you begin to self-improve, you realize that spending all your time chasing girls is kind of like being a dog chasing its tail. But later in your 20s, you begin to realize that dating can actually be a tool to help you get to your goals. So here's my suggestion. Focus on figuring out your goals as early as possible. Really take time to figure them out. If you can do that, then when you're dating, You're going to begin to orient yourself towards the place that you were going to get to later in life anyway, finding a girl who's complementary to your overall goals. And this will give you even more time to have those benefits compound. Now, I'm going to wrap this video up just by saying there are lots of other ways to date, some of them good, some of them bad, whatever. This is just my personal opinion on dating in your 20s at my current state at the time of recording this video. I have not yet got to my 30s yet, so in that time, my opinion may change. And I still party here and there, but today I'm sharing with you my current views. I just hope they help. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Spencer with Must Become. Always remember that your potential is your obligation, and so what you can become, you must become.